Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. The Vaar, or as it's commonly known, Asa Ki Vaar, is a great spiritual treasure. In this series, we'll talk about the meaning and significance of the Vaar and how Guruji gave us this Bani to sharpen our spiritual wisdom. So it not only shows us the spiritual path, but it also tells us about the rituals which appear to be the path, but which are actually big distractions and take us away from the true path of Gurbani. So as we go through this Bani, we'll learn how Guruji guides us step by step. So this Bani doesn't hesitate to challenge the spiritual authority of religious leaders. And this was the reason why the Gurus faced so much persecution, because they didn't hesitate to speak the truth. So why do we say Vaar and commonly known as Asa Ki Vaar? So technically, whenever there's a Vaar in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji, it says, for example, in the Rag Sri Rag, it says Sri Rag Ki Vaar or Sarang Ki Vaar. But this Vaar is unique in that it has the title of just Vaar. So it says Vaar Slokanal, Slok Pi Mahle Pehle Ke Likhe Tunde Asraje Ki Tuni. So it doesn't say Asa Ki Vaar as the title, but it says Vaar Slokanal, which this Vaar has a very prominent place in Gurbani and has a lot of importance. And the Vaar, as it's written in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, is only written by Guru Nanak Dev Ji and Guru Angad Dev Ji. And so if we look at, it says Tunde Asraje Ki Tuni. So even though this Vaar is in Asa Rag, it's meant to be sung in a very specific Tuni. Tuni is a prevalent tune of that time, which was very popular among the masses. So Guruji understood the power of music. And he said, rather than singing worldly songs, sing the wisdom of the divine. And this way of singing would catch on among the common people, like using the language that they understand and the type of music that the common person can understand. So we'll start with the very first. So the Vaar is divided into sloks and pauris. So the very first slok, Guru Nanak Dev Ji talks about the significance of the Guru. So this is something we'll go into in some detail. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji is our first Guru. So when Guruji says he talks about the Guru, which master, which guide is he referring to? Right? For the rest of the Gurus, we could say that it was the previous Guru who was their master. But who is Guru Nanak Dev Ji referring to when he says Guru? For this, we need to dig a little bit deeper in Gurbani. So Guruji very clearly defines who the Guru is, and this Guru is the same throughout all 10 human Gurus, and it's the same Guru that we have right now. So Guruji explained this in the Siddh Gosht Bani when he says, the Siddhs asked him, who is your Guru? Guruji says, Shabad Guru Surt Tun Chela. He said that the Shabad, or the sacred word, is the Guru or the master, and my surti, or my consciousness, becomes a disciple of this sacred word when it focuses on the sound of the word. So the surti, or the consciousness, is the disciple, and the Shabad, or the holy word, is the Guru. And this is the case in this slok, when Guruji says, Balehari Gur Apne, I am a sacrifice to the Guru. Now when we say Shabad Guru, what do we mean by Shabad? If we look at Gurbani, Shabad comes in two contexts. One is the type of Shabad that gives us spiritual wisdom, which is the Bani of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji. The other Shabad is the Shabad that we recite as the Gur Mantar, which we recite it again and again to get closer to God. So the Shabad appears in these contexts, but from the very beginning, from the time of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, the Shabad is the Guru. And so Guruji says, Salok Mahla Pehla, Balehari Gur Apne. Balehari means to be a sacrifice to, or I am in awe of, I am a sacrifice to the Guru, which grants me spiritual wisdom. The Guru comes from Guru, one who takes us from darkness to light. That's the definition of a Guru. Balehari Gur Apne. I am a sacrifice to my Guru. Deohari Sadvar. All of the days, forever, I am a sacrifice to the Guru. Why? What is the characteristic of the Guru other than bringing us from darkness to light? Jin manas te devte kiye. Guruji says this Shabad Guru has the power to turn manas or ordinary human beings to devte or divine spiritual beings. This is the power of the Guru. No other entity, no other person, nothing else has the power to transform us into divine beings other than the Shabad Guru. Jin manas te devte kiye. Karat na lagi var. Karat na lagi var means it doesn't take time. The Guru does this instantly when the Guru, which is the Shabad, transforms us instantly when our mind is ready, when our mind is attuned to the Shabad. So it's not a process that takes time, or, for example, there's so many examples of people who are considered to be sinners being blessed in an instant when they surrender to the Guru. People who joined the Sangat and after a very short time they were blessed with divine wisdom. The Guru gives us the gift of Naam, of the Guru Mantra, through which, by reciting, we become worthy of his grace. And in a very short time, without any time at all, the Guru, through his grace, transforms us from mere mortals to divine spiritual beings. This is the greatness of the Guru. Then Guru Angad Dev Ji says, Je so chanda ugveh suraj chade hazar. He says, even if 100 moons were to come into existence, moons being things that emit light, suraj chade hazar, even if 1,000 suns were to arise, ete chanan hondeya, despite there being so much physical light, gur bin kor andar. Without the Guru, there's nothing but darkness. So what is this darkness that Guruji is talking about? This is spiritual darkness, living under the influence of Maya and not being awakened to the presence of God, not being in tune with God's name. This is spiritual darkness which engulfs us in the form of thoughts, which engulfs us in the form of misery. Specifically, psychologically, it acts on our mind through the 5 thieves: lust, anger, greed, attachment, egotism, kam, krodh, lobh, moh, hankar. The darkness of these 5 and our spiritual darkness does not end until we adopt the Guru. And our Guru, Guru Nanak Dev Ji, defined our Guru as the Shabad Guru, and this remained the Guru even when the Gurus were physically on the earth. Even in human form, the Shabad was still the Guru. So Guruji then talks about our psychology. He talks about why we don't undergo the spiritual transformation, why we continue to live in misery. What is our state? Guruji says, Nanak Guru na chetani. Because of the influence of illusion and Maya, we don't remember the Guru. We don't make time to learn what the Guru said. We don't make spiritual practice a part of our daily life. Why? Man apne suchet. We think we are already intelligent. And this brings in an important concept in Gurbani, in that no matter how intelligent we are, it doesn't matter how much, Gurbani would call this intelligence chaturai or syanap, meaning just intellectual understanding, but not the true intelligence of following the Shabad. Guruji says, Gur ki mat tu le aane. Take the wisdom of the Guru, Bhagat bina bahur dubbe syane. Without devotional worship, many so-called intelligent people have sunk into the ocean of Maya, into the vast darkness of Maya. So now, no matter how much intellectual understanding we have, we can never attain peace without the wisdom of the Guru. And this wisdom isn't just book learning, or intellectually understanding what the Guru says. It's adopting the Guru's teaching so that our mind is transformed by the Guru's wisdom. So that type of wisdom brings peace, not just intellectual understanding. But if we're already satisfied with just our own mind's intelligence, we cannot hear the wisdom of the Guru. That's the very definition of a manmukh, somebody who listens to only their mind. What is their state? Chutte til buad jyo sunye andar khet. Just like when the field is harvested and many sesame seeds are left behind That is their state. Like they are left behind to rot. Khete andar chuttiyan. They're left behind in the field. Kaho Nanak so na. Na means masters, and they have so many masters who come by and take advantage of them. Animals, other people who take advantage of that opportunity of the harvest that's left behind. Phaliye hai fuliye bapade pi tane vich swa. They may even flower, but at the end they just turn to ashes, meaning they are not picked out for the harvest because they rely on their own intelligence and they don't imbibe the Guru's wisdom. So Guruji begins the Vaar with the importance of the Guru. The Guru is the beginning, middle, and end, and without understanding who the Guru is, the significance of the Guru, the function of the Guru, and how we avoid listening to the Guru's teachings, none of the Guru's teachings can bear fruit unless we understand this. So next, Guruji begins the first Pauri, and he talks about the creation of the universe. Apine aap sajyo, apine rachyo no. Guruji said, first God created himself. So since God is at the very beginning, middle, and end, there's nothing before God. God is self-created. And this is also what the word Sabhang means. Sabhang comes from also Soyambhav. So self-created, self-designed, not reliant on another for his own creation. So apine aap sajyo. First God created himself. Apine rachyo now. Then God created the name through which God can be known. So if we think about it, what is the relationship of God and his name? God's name is a collection of all of God's characteristics. Without God's name, it is impossible to know God. Gunanidhan har nama. God's name is a treasure, a collection of all of God's virtues. Jap puran hoy kama. And when we recite these virtues through Naam, all of our affairs are resolved and we attain spiritual progress. But first God created himself, and then he created the name through which God is known. He's known through his virtues, through his characteristics. And God is inseparable from his name. Just as plants are inseparable from their color green, God is inseparable from his characteristics. After this, Dui Kudrat Sajiye, he then created nature. Through his creative power, he created all of existence, all of nature. Kar asan ditto chao. And he created a seat for himself within nature. So God, there's a few things to note here. God is not separate from creation. He resides within creation, and not only is he residing, he's watching with delight. Kar asan ditto chao. He's watching with great interest and enthusiasm. This is also an important point. Sometimes with people who are spiritual or some of the newer age spirituality, there's the tendency to say that nature itself is God. However, in Sikhi, that's not the case, because God existed before nature. God is beyond nature. He created nature and dwells within it, but when nature resolves back into God, then God will continue to exist. So it would be incorrect to say that God is only nature. So, Data Karta Aptu. God is both the giver and the doer. Tus devhe kare pasau. And by your own pleasure you bestow your mercy. Tu janoi sabse. God is the knower of all. De less hai jind kawao. And God has the power to give life and take it away with just a word. God is all-powerful and resides within creation. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji again says, Kar asan ditto chao. Seated within creation, you behold it with delight. So God is not neutral to creation. God beholds it with delight and watches everything that happens. So this is the spiritual wisdom that Guru Nanak Dev Ji and Guru Angad Dev Ji give us in the first part of the Vaar.